So let's go ahead and take a comfortable seat. And as you take a comfortable seat, I know the lighting isn't perfect in here, but it was the best I could do, I think, even though it's ever changing, isn't it? Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Resting your hands on the tops of your legs, closing your eyes. And allowing yourself to find the support beneath you. To lengthen your spine up towards the sky. And then dropping into the presence of your breath. And for the next few moments, can you drop into your Ujjayi breathing? And can you balance the breath 1-to-1? And at the bottom of your next exhale, you can bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra. So even as I say, encourage you to go to these places in your body that we've been working with, or even simply coming to your practice, that alone is significant. And you are nurturing the Shraddha. We talked about the faith that coming to your practice this morning, the discipline, our tapas, to take this time to help keep you on, a certain path that you want to be traveling, to help keep you grounded in your life. And also to help connect you, body, mind, spirit, together. So to open the practice, you're welcome to join me. I'm going to chant the sound of Om, and I'm going to sing Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Saha Vidyam Karava Va'i, Teja Svina Tamastu Ma Vivisha Va'i. So may we be protected. Together, may we be nourished. May our practice provide us with energy to help us move in a direction of luminosity, to help dispel or discourage any darkness. May it help us to increase our tolerance for others and for ourselves. Take a deep inhale. Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Savidyam Karamavai Tejasvinavarim Tamastu Ma Vidyashavai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And with your exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart. Release your hands and lift your gaze. Let's just take a little twist to your right. A simple twist to the right. And so notice as you twist to your right, is the inner left groin, can it be still soft? Not lifting up, but you're still staying soft through the opposite inner groin. And then exhale, go ahead and come back to center. And a little twist to the other side. Twisting towards your left. I know that I don't have an external microphone, so I'll probably keep my voice turned towards you as much as I can. But you're probably turning away, you're turning towards your left into your twist and softening at the opposite inner groin, only because it tends to want to go with you. So how do I keep that right sit bone grounded, the right inner groin grounded, so that the twist is more about it's rising all the way up, but the pelvis is staying stable. And then we'll exhale, come back to center. Let's lift your left arm up. So even as you reach up and you're lengthening all the way through your side, and as you exhale, you're going to side bend over and stay rooted and grounded through the left side. And go ahead and really reach out this lifted arm. You might even find yourself bending your bottom elbow so that you can feel this, the tissue maybe at the lower back ribs, maybe towards the top of the pelvis on that other side. And then we'll inhale, come back up. Release that. Let's rest the hands in the lap for a second before we do the other side. All right, second side. Inhale, lift the arm. Stay rooted in the sit bone on that side. Exhale, side bend.
So as you root through, it might be your right side, and you keep reaching out all the way through the back of the rib cage. So you're adding a little more vigor, really, a little more reach. And then we'll inhale, come up. Great. All right, we're gonna come all the way up to standing. Here we go. Come all the way up to standing. Some guy just walked in. Oh, whoops, sorry about that. I don't know what I'm doing in here. All right, I'm gonna tilt this up a little bit. You're gonna come up to standing, and let's go ahead, inhale, lift both arms. Beautiful, reach all the way up. Exhale, release both arms. Inhale, lift both arms. Lengthening all the way through the fingers, reaching all the way into the ground. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. One more time, inhale, lift your arms. Reaching into the earth, reaching up to the sky. Great. And then exhale, release. Okay. Good. Can you hear me okay? You can shake your head, yes or no. Okay, great. All right, so now you're gonna go to your wall spot. When you go to your wall spot, you're gonna take a half Uttanasana. I go to this wall. So you could come to the wall, you're gonna take the hands at about the height of the shoulders. And I'd like you to leave your hands at that height. Don't slide them down when you step back. And then you're gonna go ahead and step back the feet, both feet. Reach all the way into the wall. Press into your finger pads and knuckles. And you're taking the inner groin back away. It's almost like the upper inner, above the pubic bone, that whole area comes deep into the body. Deep into the body. So I'm not pulling the pubic bone up to meet my belly button. I'm letting the pubic bone release, and I also notice that the bones above the pubic bone come deep inside myself. Strongly reaching into my hands, lengthening my spine. And then with your next exhale, step your right foot forward. You're going to take the right foot forward towards the wall, and the back foot we can turn out slightly. So the left foot will have a slight turn out. The right foot is straight ahead. And then you're going to bend the front knee and walk the hands up the wall. Press into the hands again. Reach back into the left heel. And as you lengthen the right inner thigh forward, can you release that space at the upper right inner thigh towards the hip joint? Release those away from each other. So you're making some space at the upper right hip and letting that lower below the pubic bone, it goes away from your upper inner hip. And on the back leg, you're toning your inner thigh. There's tone at the inner thigh. And then we'll slide the hands down the wall and take the right leg back, turn it out just a slight bit, and the left foot forward. So this is like warrior one legs, yeah? And the arms, you're reaching them up the wall. The front knee is not past the front ankle. The inner thigh of the front leg it's almost like there's, if we took the middle and lower adductors toward the knee, we'd let the upper go towards the pelvis. Press into the hands, reach back into the right heel, tone the right inner thigh, the back leg. And can you go back to your breathing, or have you already? So don't forget about your breathing. And then we're going to slide the hands down the wall. Great. And go back to where you were, where you're at the half Uttanasana, or sometimes we call this a wall dog. Letting the upper inner groin soften into your body. Reach into your hands. And then you can step forward towards the wall and relax both arms. Good. Come back to your mat. You're going to set up to take side angle pose. So if I had my trusty blocks, I would be so excited to put them at the right outer shin. So you're going to turn your right foot forward all the way, the left foot in slightly. All right, here we go. Inhale, the arms out. And exhale, we're headed towards side angle, Parsvakonasana. So your right hand can come to your blocks. And again, can you find a release that's happening, a space between your inner right hip joint and the pelvis. This is on the front leg. It's not a huge amount of space, but can I create with my awareness those two areas moving away from each other? I'm still then turning my chest, my spine, my heart towards the sky. And then we'll inhale, come up. I love side angle pose, makes so much space in the side body. The spin our feet the other way. Inhale, take the arms out. And exhale, side angle, Parsvakonasana. So even as you start moving, you feel how you're taking the pelvis, you're pointing it towards the the back leg. And meanwhile, on the front inner thigh, that's relaxing away, lengthening towards the knee. And where's the weight in your front heel? Can you balance the weight in the front heel? And what happens when the weight is balanced in the front heel and not all on the outer heel? Are you really reaching out the top hand and fingers? Long body. Breathing deeply. And on the front leg, can you take that upper ramus away from the inner hip joint? And then you're going to inhale, come up. Make your feet parallel, hands up on your hips. Bring your blocks around, or a chair if you need it. And lift through the front of the chest and exhale, bow forward. Wide-legged forward fold. As you're coming down, you feel the pelvis is moving back. The pubic bone's moving between the inner thighs. Hands are going to find the ground. You can walk your hands forward like downward dog arms. And in the wide-legged forward fold, again, those upper, right above the pubic bone, that upper ramus is moving deeply into your body. You feel that move into the body. Is the weight balance between the heel and the ball of the foot. You might have to take the hips back a little because sometimes we end up, shifting too much in the ball. How wide apart? I can't see your legs, Elizabeth, but I'm just going to say, are your legs farther apart than usual? Just checking, huh? Great. That's it. Wonderful. And then you're going to walk the hands back and shift them up on the hips and come all the way up to standing. Great. All right, so let's take this and let's move into a sun salutation. All right, so you're going to bring your blocks towards the top of your mat. I'm going to go sideways. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Just taking a moment to honor the time you take to come to your practice. You know and trust that this is the faith that you put into your practice to help lead you, to be one of the many leaders through your life and your day. Release your arms. Inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, downward facing dog. You could be in puppy pose as well. With your next inhale, lift the right leg up. And exhale, right foot forward. Hands could be on blocks or the ground. Back heel lifted right now, and just bring your awareness into the right front hip joint, right front inner hip. So that what happens if you turn your pelvis slightly towards the bent knee? What's that space like between the inner right hip? And if what is it like right there? And then if you take the pelvis, really keeping your attention on that inner hip joint on the front leg, and just take that, you're taking the pelvis a tiny bit towards the left. See how you make space between those inner bones, the inside ramus that we were working with last week, when you take it away from that front hip. Then let's take the arms wide or up on the hips and come upright. Lift the chest. Lift both arms if you like. So here is a lot of vigor in your practice, a lot of energy. Inhale deeply and exhale all the way to plank pose. Inhale in plank pose. Exhale, you can touch your knees to the ground and bring your chest to the ground. And maybe the forehead to the ground. 3 times. You're going to inhale, cobra.
exhale, lower. Your inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower. Last one. We'll tone at the inner thighs. Exhale, lower. Inhale, all fours. Exhale, downward dog or puppy. And see what you notice about that space. So as you're in your downward dog and you're actively reaching into the hands, the finger pads and the knuckles, and you're taking and softening at that front upper inner groin, back and into your body. And see if you feel a difference between the two sides right now. Since you've done, one side with the lunge. Just see what the two sides feel like. And then with your next inhale, lift the left leg up. From the left inner thigh, a lot of strength. And then exhale, bring your left foot forward. Once again, I like to explore what's happening at the front inner hip joint. I want there to be as much space as possible here. I don't want to be creating any more, any sort of compression. And so you can, as you reach all the way back into the back leg, you tone the inner thigh, especially the front of the inner thigh towards the inseam, towards the back inner thigh. You're reaching back. So there's the strength that really comes as you're taking the, really creating a little more space there at the front upper inner hip. And then when you're ready, inhale, come up. Maybe take the arms. Lift the heart. Another deep inhale, and then as you exhale, bow forward. Inhale, step forward. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, fold. And then inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, hands back in front of your heart. And releasing your arms. But standing just for a moment, just reflecting in your body. Okay, we're going to take one more sun salutation, but this time the lunge, we're going to take the back knee down. So if you need some padding for the knee, you might grab a pillow or a blanket. So you'll have that nearby. I haven't done a pillow. All right, so you're coming to the top of the mat again. Hands in front of the heart. Inhale, lift both arms. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, let's take the right foot back. And then let's slide your blanket or pillow or whatever there and bring the back knee down. So now the front knee is a little past the front ankle. And you can have your hands on blocks. And if you do, bring them back.
Or you might have hands at the top of the thigh. So at the front of the left hip, that inner space, can you release the pubic bone away from the upper inner thigh? And let's take your right arm and start to reach it up. And then we'll exhale, release that. Let's step back to downward facing dog. Or the puppy pose. Your knees can be on your blanket or whatever, if you're in puppy. Good. Another deep inhale. Then we're going to exhale. Come up on the balls of the foot. Lift the right leg up. Bring it forward. And we'll bring the back knee down. If you have blocks, back them up so that the hands can be on the blocks. Otherwise, you might have hands at the top of the thigh. And here you go into a little softening at the front of the right hip, inner hip to the upper pubic ramus, making some space. And then let's take the left arm. So once you start to reach the left arm up, do you feel you need a little tone at the back inner thigh? Especially at the back of that leg, upper inner thigh. When you tone there, it's helping you with your balance and many other pieces. It's also helping to create a little tone with the abdominals. And then we're going to exhale forward. Hands touch down. Inhale, lift the back knee. Exhale, step forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, forward fold. So you're going to hang it out in Uttanasana for a moment, releasing the head and the neck. Yeah. And notice again at the upper inner groins, is that soft? Is it coming into the body? You're not holding. And then you'll shift your hands onto your hips and come back up to standing. All right, we can move the blanket out of the way or the pillow or whatever. And we're going to take warrior one. Warrior one. So we're going to step the left leg back first. So you're going to step your left leg back. And remember, it's the feet are hip distance. So make sure when you step the left foot back, that the two hip points are still pointing, they're pointing straight ahead. Both legs are straight to start. And we'll inhale, lift both arms. And exhale, bend the front knee. As you're bending the front knee, let that space open again. So at the right upper adductor is not tense. It's relaxed and releasing. But on the back leg, you're toning. Tone at the back upper adductor. And then we'll inhale, release the arms, step forward. And then we're going to step the other leg back. So right leg back, right foot back. Pelvis is pointing straight ahead. I always find myself, inching my front foot forward a little more because I find that sometimes when I step back, I'm just not stepping back far enough. And then inhale, lift your arms up. And as you exhale, as you bring your front shin forward, let go of that space at the upper inner thigh so that the pelvis on the left is moving really away from the upper inner thigh. And then on the back leg, draw the adductors, tone them into the mid leg. And then we'll release and step forward. Thank you. So that pose for me, Uttanasana, was for a long time, I didn't like it. There was an aversion. Yes, I have aversions too. I just couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how to get long in it. I couldn't figure out how to create length through the low back so it felt more integrated. It never felt, I couldn't get it to feel like a whole body experience. But it's really come along in my own body. Like I actually feel a lot of energy in it now. And it feels really energizing and nourishing to me. So you are welcome to, text me or make a comment anytime about that pose for you and questions you have about it. You can send me any questions about it. And, I'll try to address them in the next class or something like that. Because when we, on Warrior One, we're releasing the front leg inner thigh, but the back leg inner thigh is very active. And what I'm finding is that by really using the back leg inner thigh, letting go of the front one, using the back one, toning it, I now understand that it's toning all the way up through, it's invigorating and following this fascial line through my deep abdominal psoas and that whole area. And now I feel like, oh, there's a little contraction there that's making it safe for me to take the shape. So anyway, I just planted a few seeds there. And you're in the rain, you're watering all those seeds. Okay. So now let's take a wide stance one more time. And we're gonna bow forward because we wanna take something now, a little counter to the work you just did. So you're taking a forward, wide-legged stance, forward fold. You can walk the hands back to be maybe towards the toes. But let's lift the chest. Let's reach into the hands and lift the chest. Broad across the sacrum. Broad across the back of the pelvis. So I have to actively reach into the feet. Great. One more deep inhale. And then you're going to exhale and fold forward. And then we're going to walk the hands forward, shift them up to your hips, and come up to standing. And then we'll go ahead and step or hop the feet together. All right. And let's go towards Warrior Three. So we can do Warrior Three. You could go back to your wall spot if you like to practice this one. I'll pick which wall I like. So if you go to your wall and you're going to have your arms, just fingertips. So like you have a little cup at the center of the palm. So we're going to stand on the right leg first. So when you shift the weight to the right leg, the right outer hip should be drawing into your body. So you feel the right outer hip come in. You feel the adductor's toned, so the whole leg on the right is becoming toned. Take the left leg back and lift the left leg up. I'm gonna get back here. So on the standing leg, there's a lot of strength. So the right outer hip comes into the center, the adductors come into the inseam of the leg, and on the lifted leg, you're reaching. And then we're gonna inhale, come up. So I'm pretty far from the wall. Yeah, I'm pretty far from the wall. And then let's go to the second side. So I'm gonna shift my weight left. And start to draw the left outer hip in. Tone the left inner thigh. And start to pick up the back leg. So strong standing leg. Is your standing leg straight? Are you reaching out the ball of the lifted leg? And then inhale, come up again. And bring your hands in front of your heart. Just feeling the body's response to your effort. Great. All right. And then let's relax that. Let's come down to the ground. And we're going to come down to Marichyasana 3. So some of you might like to sit on a block. And some of you might want to sit on a blanket. And some of you might be sitting on the ground. Whichever. You're coming down, and we're going to take right leg straight and bend your left knee. All right. Let's take left hand behind you. It could be, if you're sitting on a block, then take the left hand also on a block. And then with your right hand, you're either you can hug this knee. Let's look towards the big toe of the right leg. Or your outer elbow might be at the outer left knee. So the torso from L2 up is turning left. And I'm going to turn my head towards the right just to create a little more space in trying to release the neck a little bit. So I'm taking the neck the opposite way. This is such a beautiful stretch for the outer hips. Do you feel it as it stretches across the outer hip? Do you remember we were talking about the space between the crest of the pelvis and the greater trochanter? Can you notice that space? Both sides. And then let's release that. And let's take the second side. All right, so right hand behind you and either hugging the knee or crossing over. We'll keep the gaze towards the big toe of the straight leg. Oh, good. One more deep breath, including a full exhale before you inhale again, and then release on an exhale. And straighten both legs. And you can just take your hands and rub the knees. All right, I want to do another hip stretch, Gomukhasana, legs. So for this one, you might like to have a block that's going to be behind you so that you'll be able to sit the pelvis on probably the lowest level of that block. Or some of you might, maybe just a blanket is nice. And the way I like to come into this is I come up on my knees and I cross my knees. Now, if some of you are like, I'm not doing that pose, then you'll do figure four. You'll do the figure four stretch. So right now I have my knees, my right knee in front of my left, and my feet are wide apart, and I'm going to sit back. And I want to balance the weight in the hips. This is why you say, well, Lynn, I think I need to sit up higher. Or maybe I just need a blanket under, one of my hips to really get the weight balanced. But sometimes I can settle in a way that I get the hip to drop. So like the right one comes down, and I'm going to sit tall. This is the second time today I've sat in Gomukhasana. It feels really different than it did earlier, luckily. I think it's just sitting for hours. I think I sat yesterday for, more hours, probably 9 hours of sitting. So it's really so wonderful. But the standing pose we did, Warrior 3, Warrior 1, these poses, we want to stretch the outer hips after we do those demanding standing, strengthening places. All right. And then let's switch sides. So I usually come forward, I uncross my knees, and then I take the right one behind the left. I take my feet out wide, and back I go to sit, either on a block, or on a blanket, or on a ground, the ground. And then, can you balance the weight in the hips? I mean, the weight is a little different on the down leg side than the up leg side, but let's make sure that the up leg side still has some weight. It's got some weight into it. It's not just a free floater. So make sure you need to sit up high enough to make sure there's some weight under that. If you're in the figure 4 stretch and you're stretching your left outer hip, can you shift the weight to be a little more onto the right side? Yeah, so that the weight will be away from the side that's getting a stretch. So like those of us that are in Gomukhasana legs, there's a little more weight on the right, isn't there? A little bit than on the left. So we're not going to put as much weight on the side that's, it's automatically got a little less weight on it because that leg's on top. It's the same in the figure 4. We want there to be a little less weight on the side that's being stretched. Okay, good. Let's take one more deep inhale. And then we'll exhale. And if you're in figure 4, you'll roll over to one side and come up. And the rest of us, all of us, are going to take the legs wide apart. So here, you might need a blanket, a pillow, or a block. Legs wide apart. Upavista. Sorry about the dinging.
I'm scared to turn the ding off that I'll lose all my volume on you. All right, good. Let's take a little twist toward your right. So right hand behind you, left hand in front. And then let's go the other direction. And then let's come back to center. Now, can you put your hand under your right knee, pick it up, and bring your foot. Can you bring the foot in, and you so that you're looking straight ahead, but your left leg's going that way, and your right knee's going the other way. If the shin on the bent knee side isn't touching the ground, put a pillow or a block under there. So you've got something for that to rest upon. We're going to take a revolved Janu Shirshasana. So on the straight leg side, take your hand of that side, so it might be your left hand, and just start to walk down the inside of that leg. Pausing. And then at the upper inner thigh of the straight leg, between the straight leg and the pelvis, can you soften that a little more deeply into your body? Soften it more deeply in the body. You're gonna turn the chest a little towards the sky. Yep. Stay soft at that upper inner groin of the straight leg. And then let's take the opposite arm. Your right arm, reach it up and maybe over. Again, soft at the upper groin on the straight leg side. So you're gonna make space between the inner hip joint and that pubic bone on the straight leg. And then we'll inhale, come up. And let's switch sides. So I'll support my leg to take it back out, put my hand under my knee to bring it back in. Second side. So again, on this side, make sure you have, if the leg isn't comfortable on the ground, you put a block, a stack of blankets, pillow, whatever cushion you need there. And your pelvis also, you're probably sitting up on something. You want the pelvis to be a little tilted forward. If the pelvis is tilted backwards, it's going to be hard to soften that upper inner groin on the straight leg side. So put enough lift under your pelvis that you can, rise up out of it. And then when you're ready, take your right hand and start to come down, either right on the leg, you're going to slide the hand. You get to a place where you're like, oh, I get to a place and I go, now what do I do? And so then I go to that inner groin. You could call it it's like the femoral triangle. It's right up between the pubic bone and the femur, your upper thigh bone. Soften that back into yourself. See what happens when you soften that into your body. Let it be really soft. It comes deep inside you. And then reach your arm up and over. Turn the chest. Now the sit bone on the opposite side is going to lift up. That's totally fine. Your left sit bone, the bent knee side, is going to become more light. So that's okay. Let it be light on that side.
And then we're going to inhale back up. Hands under both legs. Let's take both legs straight ahead, Dandasana. Give the knees a little rub down. Maybe I'll pick some sage. Bring some sage back. Oh, I'll have to bring it back, but I can't give it to you. Rats. I'll go smell some sage for you today. I'm gonna fill my car up with the smell of sage. So good. All right, you ready? We're gonna come down to your back. So lying down on your back. And let's take a dead bug, either hands at the backs of the knees, or at the shins, or the outer feet. Breathing deeply. And then we're gonna bring the feet back to the ground and walk the feet as wide as your yoga mat. Take your arms overhead, palms to the sky, and drop the right knee in towards the left foot. Lengthening out the top of the right thigh. Can you feel a connection from as you reach out the top of the right thigh, like you're reaching towards your left big toe, and all the way through the rib cage? Can you feel a connection all the way up there towards your right lower ribs? And then we're going to come back up to center and drop the other knee in. Reach out the left thigh. Center. Walk the feet back to hip distance. Bring the arms down. Let's pick up the knees. Draw them to the chest. Inhale them, arms length away. Exhale, let's hug them back in. Inhale them away. Exhale, draw them in. Baddha Konasana, lying down, I just grab onto my shins or ankles and take the knees apart. And then bring the knees back together. Hug the knees in. You lengthen the low back. Again, inhale, take them an arm's length away 3 times. Exhale, hug them in. You might want to lift your head. Inhale, make room for the breath. Exhale, make yourself into a little ball. And one more. And then bring your feet back to the ground. And And then bring yourself to Shavasana. Any comfortable position. Sometimes you might put your legs up on a piece of furniture. You might take the legs up the wall. I'll watch the time.
And you'll slowly allow your breath to deepen. Again, that blessing of your breath happening all the time. You never have to think of it. Every breath, a gift. And then beginning to awaken your body to movement. Make a mindful transition down to one side. And use the support of your arms to press back up to sitting. And take a moment to notice the quality of your mind when you come back up to sitting. And honoring your presence, bring your hands in front of your heart. Namaste, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'll crawl toward you.